Yeah, so we'll do the connection now. And before that, why I also added three PCs, you might ask, along with the IP phones. That's because I want to show that even though they are connected to the same interface, how the traffic gets divided. Like the traffic that the IP phone need, it will take it, and remaining it will pass to the PC. For example, IP phone will take the voice, and the PC will take the data. So we'll do the connection. So I'll take a straight copper wire and PC, and make sure when you're connecting the IP phone, the one you're connecting to PC, IP phone basically has two ports. One is a switch port and one is PC port. So the one you're connecting to PC must be connected to the PC port. And then the one you're connecting to the switch must be connected to switch port in the IP phone. So I'll give port number 2, 3, and 4. And then finally, I'll connect my switch to the router using the FA01. So now what's the plan is that we'll make two separate VLANs. So first is like we'll create one VLAN for the IP for all the IP phones. I'll choose yellow. And then for the and all these remaining three pieces I'll add in different VLAN. And I'll call this VLAN as VLAN 10, and I'll give it an IP of I don't know, around like 192.168.10 like 10 series. I'll give IP. And similarly for the PCs, I'll name it as VLAN like I'll give the VLAN 20. And for this I'll give IP of different network, like I'll give 192.168 point the 20 series I'll give. So now it's like very simple. You know that all the three IP phones will be in VLAN 10 and all the three PCs will be in VLAN 20. So now we just configure the VLANs in our switch. And before that, I have to like power on the the IP phones. So I'll just do that. So how do we power on the IP phone? We just select the phone, and you'll see like a power code here. So you just have to connect it here. You can see the green is light up and it's powered on. And similarly, for the since I'm assigning IPs using DHCP, I'll just turn this into DHCP mode in PCs very quick. So once that's done, let's create our two VLANs, that is VLAN 10 and 20 in the switch. So switch. So I'll create VLAN 10, and I'll name it as voice, because all my three IP phones are in VLAN 10, so I'll name it as voice. And then I'll create another VLAN called 20, and I'll name it as I don't know, like data. Now I'll just add these ports. So interface, it's 2, 3, and 4, right? The range would be there. Since you all know how to create VLAN, so switch port, mode, access, and then switch port, access, VLAN. Since the PCs are in VLAN 20, so I'll add VLAN 20 here. Spelling. And then similarly, I'll add the IP phones also. So here instead of access, since access we use for PCs, here we have to use another command called voice. So I'll do switch port, voice, VLAN 10. So as you can see, like all the VLANs are created. So all the VLANs are created. And now what you have to do is you have to trunk the switch to the router. So as you all, because we are going to make use of the concept like the support concept. So here trunking is needed. So I'll just trunk the fast 0/1 to the switch. So I'll do very quick. Switch port mode trunk. So once trunking is done, so we'll just close it. So that's it with the switch. So in switch, we just create two VLANs and do the trunking. That's it. Now we'll just go to the router, and so in router we have to do some default like settings. So in router, first what you have to do is like as I told you have to create supports, right? So interface it's 0/0.10 for the VLAN 10, and since we are doing supports, we have to do the encapsulation. So encapsulation dot 1Q and add the 10 VLAN. And then once that is done, just assign the IP address. So IP address 192.168. Since it is like this thing, right? This thing 10 series. Then the subnet mask. Similarly, we'll do for the 0/0 point second VLAN as well. So that is the second support. Encapsulation dot 1Q and the 20 VLAN. And similarly, I'll give the IP address in the 20 series. So once the IPs are done, we'll just power on the main port. So is 0/0. So sub. Now we just assign the DHCP for the PCs first. So and before assigning, we have to add an extra command. We have to exclude some of the IP addresses so that it doesn't get assigned to the other PCs. So I'll do that first. So it's like IP DHCP. There's a command called this thing excluded addresses. So you have to use that. And you have to I'll keep out some 5 IP addresses for example 192.168. First I'll do it for the PC. So 20.1 to 192.168 20.5. Once that is done, do the same thing for the 10 series as well. So once you have excluded all these 5 IP addresses, next you have to set up the IPs using DHCP. So the tool first I'll do it for the PCs. As you all know, I'll name it as I don't know, around like voice 20 I'll name, and then give the network 168.20.0, and then the default router. So once that is done, we'll just do the same thing for the IP phones as well. We'll assign IPs for the IP phone. So the same thing, IP DHCP, and I'll name it as default string gateway. And here one more extra command we have to give. It's called option 150 IP and the source address. So you might ask me why we are giving this extra command while creating DHCP for the IP phones. That is option 150 IP source IP. And why is it? Because like we all know that the IP phones, they need a server to get the IP addresses. So what we're doing is we are converting this router into a TFTP server. It's like it's called a file transfer protocol. So we're converting it into an FTP so that all the configuration files that are needed for the IP phones will be received by the router. That's why we're giving this extra command called option 150 IP and the source IP. So once that is done, that's over. Like we have assigned the IPs. Now this you can see the PCs will ping. Now you have to make the IP phones ping. So for that you have to initiate the telephony service. So how we do that is we type a command called telephony service, and you have to define the maximum IP phones that you can have in your network. So I'll give around I don't know, like I'll give around max iPhone as 5. So I'll just keep it to 5 iPhones. I mean IP phones, and then I'll give max directory. Directory is like it's like the number you can have in each phone. So that is like I'll give maximum as like 3 or 4. So once that is done, my next command would be IP source address. So you should define from which you should tell the server to which source IP you're going to send the configuration files. So I'm gonna write that. So it's 192.168.10.1, and also you have to specify the port number as well. So as you can see, if I like from 2000 to 9099 ports are available. So I'll just give some random. I'll give 2000, like port number 2000. So once that is done, the telephony service thing is set up. Now I'll just exit from here. And now our next step is to assign phone numbers for these different IP phones. So I'll be doing that. It's very simple. You just need to type ephone DN. Since we have 3 phones, right? So I have to give 3 separate numbers. So first I'll give it for the ephone directory 1. So it's said the state is changed to up. Now I'll just give some any number like I don't know, around like 100 I'll give. And then the same thing for the ephone directory 2 as well. And I'll give number as 200. And then the ephone, the third phone, I'll give number as 300. So since I think it's all clear till here. So we have set up the IPs to the phones and PCs using DHCP. That's done. And next, we have used the telephony service to initiate the voice, the IP to be received by the IP phones. So, and then we've also given the numbers for each of these IP phones. Now, there's one final step. That is, you have to register your phones in the telephony service. So let's see how it's done. But that's very simple. You have to register each of these phones separately. So first I'll select like any one phone, like ePhone 1. And then you have to specify what type of IP phone you're using. So here I'm using a Cisco model 7960. So I'll just give type as 7960. So that is done. And then I'll give the button. So button in the sense simply saying it's like, the line that the phone takes. It's basically the line that the phone takes. So each phone can have different, like you can say line, right? For example, if my first phone is taking the line 1.1, second phone cannot take the same line, right? Should have a different line connection. So for this, I'll give 1.1. Same thing I'll do for the second phone as well.
Sorry for the late service, guys. Just have to wait for 2 minutes. I'm taking holiday and some personal commitments. So tomorrow you would be having the technical presentation for whole day. Rashmi would be here. According to me, she should be here tomorrow, but I don't know about her schedule. But be prepared, and I would be talking the calendar late night because I'm having some function at my home. So basically, all you all have to be prepared. Right? Yeah, I will be coming. Any questions? Thanks. Bye. Chocolates you have to give me them. I will give you a plate. This maybe for God's sake. Sure. Have fun. Yeah. All the best for the thing with the patients.
So it takes some time to come up that iPhone, this thing, IP. Yeah. Actually, it's a very like slow protocol, so it takes time. Takes some time for the IP phone to come up. So yeah, now it came. So as you can see, if you so if you can see here in my ephone 1, the MAC address is assigned, and even in the same even ephone 2 and 3 also the MAC address are assigned. So we can also go to this particular ephone and also check. So if I just make it big, you can see that in the left side MAC address is assigned, and in the right side the phone number is assigned to the phone. So now we'll just communicate between the two phones. So I'll just select any two phones. So the phone in my left side is having a number of 100, and the right side is having a number of 200. So I'll just try to connect them. You can see it's ringing, and so it's coming. It's from 100, and if you once connect, it will get connected.